Okay, so today we're doing Surah 105, Surah Al-Fil. And as usual, we'll do the Arabic, the translation, and explanation. We might skip some of the explanation depending on the time. Jessica, do you know the Arabic of this?
No, I'm not familiar with
Okay,
this Arabic.
okay, that's fine. So you can just read the translation and the explanation. So
Okay.
let's start with Umair.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل Have you not seen how your Lord dealt with the people of the elephants? Though the address apparently is directed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, its real addressees are not only the Quraysh, but all the people of Arabia who were well aware of the event. At many places in the Quran, the words Alam Tara, have you not seen, have been used, and they are meant not to address the Prophet, peace be upon him, but the people in general. For example, see.
Let's hold on, Omar. Let's just do this. Actually, you can skip the names, but let's just stop here. There were just a couple of words that I underlined. Jessica, do you want to say the words? Maybe
I
you're
was
on.
muted. I was muted. Yeah, so this is though. It's pronounced as though. Kind of rhymes with dough, but with a th at the beginning. And it's being used to say something like, despite the fact that, even though.
Okay. The
Mhm.
next one.
Directed.
You said because when Umar said he said directed. How do
Mm,
you say it?
directed.
Directed.
Yeah, it is hard to remember all that, but like, I guess when we're thinking of a director of a movie, we just say director. So yeah, directed it was shown to the prophet, or it was given to him. And then I guess that's it. So I guess I'll just go ahead with the reading.
Yep.
Okay. Have you not seen how your Lord dealt with the people of the elephants? Though the address apparently is directed to the prophet, peace be upon him, peace be on him, its real addressees are not only the Quraysh, but all the people of Arabia who were well aware of the event. And many places in the Quran, the words Alam Tara, have you not seen, have been used, and they are meant not to address the prophet, peace be on him, but the people in general.
Thank you. And I think I wanted to put a question mark on because I'm so used to seeing PBUH.
Yeah, usually in English we say peace be upon him. So I guess they decided to use a different word. I mean, I guess it's the same meaning. It's just different than the usual.
Yeah. And as you guys noticed when Jessica read it for the first time, she said peace be upon him. And then she realized that it was different. So when we are used to reading something certain, you're used to reading it until you notice it or somebody corrects it. Okay, so next let's go with Abrar. Start with here. Then
Sure.
the word.
Okay, sir. Then the word seeing has been used here to signify that in and around Mecca and in the vast country of Arabia, from Mecca to Yemen, there were many such people still living who had witnessed with their own eyes the event of the destruction of the people of the elephant. for it had occurred only about 40 to 45 years earlier, and the people of Arabia had continually heard it described by the eyewitnesses themselves, so that they had become so certain of it as though they had seen it with their own eyes. Here Allah has not given any detail as to who were the people of the elephant, where from they had come, and what was the object of their march. For all these things were well known among the people.
Okay, thank you. And you might recall the surah we covered last time, Surah 106, had some reference to the same story as well. Now, for Abraha coming to Makkah to attack Kaaba.
Yes.
Okay, so just a couple words here. Jessica, how would you say VAST?
Vast.
Vast.
It's vast. Yeah, like a large country.
Would you say vast or would you just say vast?
Vast.
Okay. I'm going to write another word here. How would you say this word?
Oh, CLAS?
CLASS.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the second S. Class.
Class. Okay. So,
Yeah.
let me write one more.
Glass.
Okay. Yeah. So, it's the word class I remember when I was in Pakistan, people would say class or glass,
Oh.
class.
Mm.
And that might be just the British way of saying it. So in America,
Oh.
all of a certain class, glass, and similarly here it's a short A, and this would be vast.
Mm-mm.
And the next word would be
Arabia. So the place, Arabia.
Yeah.
And then I guess that's it.
that is it. He did pretty good. So
Yeah, he did.
do you want to reread this or
Sure. Oh, I think he went down a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
All right, I can read it. So then the word seeing has been used here to signify that in and around Mecca and in the vast country of Arabia, from Mecca to Yazman, there were many such people still living who had witnessed with their own eyes the event of the destruction of the people of the elephant, for it had occurred only about 40 to 45 years earlier, and the people of Arabia had continually heard it described by the eyewitnesses themselves, so that they had become so certain of it as though they had seen it with their own eyes. Here, Allah has not given any detail as to who were the people of the elephant, where from they had come, and what was the object of their march. For all these things were well known among the people.
Okay. One word here we'll go back to. I'm going to box it. How would you say that?
That's actually a word I'm not familiar with. My guess is Yaman, but I guess it's supposed to be Yemen, right? The modern spelling is Yemen.
Yeah. So in America, I think we are used to the spellings of sorry. YEMEN.
Right.
Yeah. So are you from? Yeah. So it's so how would you say YEMEN?
Yemen.
Yemen. Right?
Mhm.
So and I think in our part of the world, I've mostly heard the name in Urdu where we say Yemen, but in America we say Yemen.
It sounds almost close though.
Yeah. So there's in Arabic and Urdu there's a concept of there's a different concept. Sabat or I forgot what's the word for it. I'll come back to it when it comes to me. So okay, so let's move to the next one. Munazza, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you want to start with the number 2?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل. Did he not bring their plan to naught? The word kaid is used for a secret plan meant to harm somebody. The question is what was secret in this case? 60,000 troops, together with several elephants, had openly come from Yemen to Mecca, and they had kept no secret that they had come to destroy the Kaaba. Therefore, there was nothing secret about this plan. However, what was secret was the motive of the Abyssinians. They, by destroying the Kaaba, crushing down the Quraysh and intimidating the Arabians, wanted to take control of the trade route that led from South Arabia to Syria and Egypt. This motive they kept hidden and instead proclaimed their intent that they wanted to destroy the Kaaba, the principal house of Arab worship, in retaliation for the pollution of their cathedral by the Arabs.
Okay. Thank you. So I've underlined a few words. Jessica, you want to read?
Sure. Excuse me. So the first word is troops. It has 2 O's in it. So usually in English, when there's 2 O's together, it has like a oo sound. Similar to, I guess, a U. So troops. And I guess what that means is, how would I say it? A bunch of people in the military, a unit, a formation.
Army.
Yeah, a group of people in an army.
Army people.
Yeah, that works. The next word is intimidating. Intimidating, so like scary, or they were scaring the Arabians. The next word is trade route. As we discussed last time, some people say route, some people say route. I guess it depends on where you live and what your dialect is, but I guess either is fine. Trade route. So that's a road that people use for trade,
Yep.
like the Silk Road. And then there's Syria, the
Sorry.
place. Yeah, Syria. I know in Arabic it's pronounced as Surya, but I guess Americans say Syria.
And I think in that part of the world, it might also be called Sham.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And same as the next one. And the next one is
the next one is Egypt.
okay. And Egypt is called Misr.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
Well, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Or what's the name I'm looking for? Myanmar. It's a country in Asia, right?
Yeah.
But in the rest of the world calls it Burma.
Oh, right.
So there are like a few names, and same thing with there's a country of Jordan, right?
Yes.
Jordan. Over there, it is called Urdu.
Oh, Urdu.
With a soft D.
Okay.
So, and the city that actually always the name that I have enjoyed is the city of Casablanca. That's what we call it in English.
Hmm.
But locals call it Dar ul Bayda. And
Interesting.
um, the house, the White House, I think.
Yeah,
Dar,
I was about to say in Spanish, Casablanca is White House.
yeah, yeah. So Dar ul Bayda is like literal meaning in Arabic.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah, so there are a bunch of these. There are these, or then there's one famous one that gets translated back and forth is usually the name Alexandria. The name Alex translates into Arabic as Iskandar.
Oh
Or,
yeah, Iskandar
or
Dulkarnan.
yeah, exactly. So because Alexander is translated as Alexander is translated into Iskandar, the cities with the name Alexandria are usually called Escandaria. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So like usually these are proper nouns and they should be the same. But English has this between these languages, there are few of these exceptions where the name of the country is different from one language to another.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so where were we?
We were at Egypt, a
Okay.
place.
Okay.
And then the next word is instead. So that's like rather. And then proclaimed. I guess to proclaim is to state or to say.
To make a claim.
Yeah, I guess that could work. And then the last one was retaliation. So retaliation. So that's like in revenge.
Yeah, revenge.
Right.
I kept thinking of response, but response wasn't the proper word.
Well, it's a type of response, but it's just like a vengeful response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So revenge is the perfect word. Okay, so let's read this.
Okay. So I guess I start with, did he not bring their plan to naught? The word qaid is used for a secret plan meant to harm somebody. The question is, what was secret in this case? 60,000 troops, together with several elephants, had openly come from Yemen to Mecca, and they had no secret that they had come to destroy the Kaaba. Therefore, there was nothing secret about this plan. However, what was secret was the motive of the Abyssinians. They, by destroying the Kaaba, crushing down the Quraysh and intimidating the Arabians, wanted to take control of the trade route that led from South Arabia to Syria and Egypt. This motive they kept hidden and instead proclaimed their intent that they wanted to destroy the Kaaba, the principal house of Arab worship, in retaliation for the pollution of their cathedral by the Arabs.
Okay. Jessica, are you familiar with the story of when Hannibal invaded Rome with his
I'm a little bit. I guess he was in charge of the Carthaginians, and they all like rode on elephants.
Yeah, and they went up the Alps all the way to the gates of Rome.
I have heard that story.
Yeah. And then the Romans essentially just waited them out.
Because I guess it was hard to get a bunch of elephants up the Alps.
A lot of the elephants died.
Oh.
So, but they still made it. But because by the time they had reached Rome, the supply lines had become so long that Romans could easily attack the supply lines rather attacking them.
Oh, that's very smart.
Yeah, so it was one of those classic rivalry of the antiquity. So yes, actually, I think the Tunisian airport is so called Carthage,
Oh, that's
or
interesting.
the area right around the airport is Carthage. But the Romans came and eventually destroyed the whole city.
Yeah, they
Okay.
salted the earth so nothing would grow.
Yeah, they salted the earth. Yeah. So what Jessica and I are talking about is a parallel story of another general. So the general in this story is Abraham. Abraha is from Abyssinia. Abyssinia. And they attacked Mecca. There is another story of another general. His name was Hannibal. He was from Carthage, which is modern-day Tunisia. And he, at the time, attacked the city of Rome. And the story, part of the story is that he took his elephants all the way to, on the mountains to attack Rome. Okay, so let's go with Imran. You want to read the next one?
Yes, sir. Literally, fi tadlil means let their plan astray, but idiomatically leading a plan astray means idiomatically leading a plan astray means bringing it to naught and rendering it fruitless. At one place in the Quran, it has been said, but the disbelievers' plot qaid ended in vain. Surah Al-Mumin, Ayah 25. At another, and that Allah does not lead to success. The plan qaid of deceivers, Surah Yusuf, Ayat 52. The Arabians described Amraul Kas Amraul Kas by the epithet of Al-Malikat Dalil, the king who lost and wasted, for he had lost the kingdom left by his father.
Yeah. So, Jessica, the words are?
So the first one is idiomatically, as in like an idiom. And it's interesting that this word is here because this morning we were talking about idioms when I said I am feeling under the weather. That doesn't literally mean I am under weather as a phenomenon, but it's more of like an expression, like a metaphorical expression to say something. Like another idiom in English is when somebody is mad at someone and they want them to go away, they say, go jump in a lake. Like they don't really want them to jump in a lake. It's just an expression that doesn't have a literal meaning, I suppose. So when I guess here when it's saying idiomatically, I'm not actually sure why it's saying idiomatically here, but idiom is the meaning of just something that's not its literal meaning. So I wonder if they meant to say idiotically.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll just focus on the word for now, what the word means.
Yeah.
That it be that. I think the next one he pronounced it as verse.
So the.
Okay.
So the is just an article.
Okay. Yeah, and I think he just got confused with day. They.
Oh, okay.
Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in vain. So it was futile. It was useless.
Versus what you said was the word that's van. Van.
Vain. Yeah.
Okay. So van is van. vain. Vain.
Vain. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next word is Arabians. So people who lived in Arabia.
Yep.
Yep. I guess that's it. All right. So I'll go ahead and start. Literally, fi tadlil means led their plan astray, but idiomatically, leading a plan astray means bringing it to naught and rendering it fruitless. At one place in the Quran, it has been said, but the disbelievers' plot, Qaid, ended in vain. Surah Al-Mu'min, ayat 25. Oh, low power. At another, and that Allah does not lead to success the plan, Qaid, of deceivers. Surah Yusuf, ayat 52. The Arabians described Imra ul Qais by the epithet of Al-Malik ad-Dalil, the king who lost and wasted, for he had lost the kingdom left by his father.
Okay. And the word here is that I wanted to point out was the word epithet.
Right.
So that means a nickname?
Yeah, I guess a nickname is a good word for it.
Or a nickname that's meant to insult somebody?
I don't know if it's always insulting, but I guess it can be. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just look up in the dictionary real quick if we have this word. No, it's not. They got epitaph, but they don't have epithet.
Oh, I found it. I can send you guys the link.
All right, just send us the link. I was just looking at the paper dictionary these guys have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe. It does say like a nickname. Sometimes you can use it in a negative way, but I have heard it used just in a neutral way to talk about the epithet of an author.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now the ayah number 3. Arslan, did you want to read the number 3?
Sir, I think Arslan ने ना वो third paragraph को बोला था. ये
Oh,
fifth है.
not the third ayah? Okay, never mind then. All right. So let's go to.
नहीं, अरसलान ने बोला था कि मैं कोई भी पढ़ लूंगा लास्ट में.
उसने अभी मैसेज किया.
Okay, that's fine. So let's go with Khadija.
Yes, sir. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa arsala alayhim tayran ababil, and he sent against them swarms of birds. Ababil means many separate and scattered groups, whether of men or other creatures, which comes from different sides successively. Um, Ikrima and Qatada say that these swarms of birds had come from the Red Sea. Said bin Zubair and Ikrima says that such birds had neither been seen before nor ever after. These were neither birds of Najd nor of Hijaz nor of Tamama, the land between Hijaz and Red Sea. Ibn Abbas says uh, that their beaks were like those of birds and claws like the dog's paw.
Okay. So Few mistakes, Jessica.
Okay, there's swarms, so it's like a group.
I think she says swans when she quickly read that. So swan is a different bird.
Yeah, swan is a bird, but swarms is a group of birds.
Yeah. And then the next one is a very common problem.
I think she almost got it right, but slightly off. But creatures. Creatures. Yeah.
Sir, the words are too small. I can't see. That's why I pronounce it swans.
That's fine. So yeah, these were the only. Actually, when the same word came again and you fixed it.
Yeah.
So that's
You did very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think she did fine. So should we just move on to the next paragraph?
Okay.
Next person.
Sure.
Yeah. Muzamma. Okay. Read from there.
Ikrama has stated that their heads were like the heads of the birds of prey, and almost all the reporters agree that each bird carried a stone in its beak and two stones in its claws. Some people of Makkah had these stones preserved with them for a long time. Thus, Abu Naim has related a statement of Al-Fil bin Abi Muawiyah saying that he had seen the stones which had been thrown on the people of the elephant. They equal a small pea seed in size and were dark red in color. According to Ibn Abbas' tradition that Abu Naim has related, they were equal to a pine kernel, and according to Ibn Mardua, equal to a goat's dropping. Obviously, all the stones might not be equal but differing in size to some extent.
Okay. So a few words.
Okay. The first one is stated. That's to say, so it's stated. And then let's see, after that is
These two words kind of got just jumbled.
Oh, these stones. So the specific stones we're talking about, these stones.
Yeah.
Statement, something someone said.
Yeah, so earlier the word was stated, these two words. And
Yes.
I think there you said stated, and here you said statement. So in a,
Right.
so I think you might be thinking about the short for statistics.
Yeah, the short A.
So where we use the word stats. But here we say state, okay, like the word stay, stay somewhere. So state, and here statement.
Right. And once again, I guess here we're using the long vowel version of A. And once again, a lot of times in English, if there's an E that comes after the consonant that's after the A, I know it's confusing, but if there's an E there, that makes the vowel long. Like the difference between the word cub and cube, there's an E after B, so it makes it long.
Okay, so let's write it down. So cub. So we're going from cub to cube.
Right, and if you notice, there's an E at the end of that B, and that made the U long. And it's the same with the words not and note.
So two vowels, one consonant.
Right.
Not, note.
Right. And if you notice, the O becomes long after that E is added. So I know it's a complicated rule, and it doesn't always apply, but a lot of times it does apply. So if you're unsure whether to make the vowel short or long, if you see that, that can be a hint that it's long.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So
yep, and the next one was
there's statement, and then after that it was equaled.
mhm.
So equaled, it's to equal, to be like the same as, the same quantity as.
You did good there. I didn't know how else to say equal.
Yeah. Yeah, some words it's like hard to think of synonyms because it's like, well, it just means what it means. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next word is kernel. So a kernel, it's kind of like could I call it a seed maybe?
Pit.
Yeah, maybe a pit.
Okay. It's like I see. I'm trying to remember which fruit in Pakistan has a pit. Like a mango has a hard part inside it. That hard part
Yeah.
is called pit.
Yeah, it's like the hard part in the center of a fruit, like, or some food, like popcorn has a kernel.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to read this, Jessica?
Sure. Ikrima has stated that their heads were like the heads of the birds of prey, and almost all the reporters agree that each bird carried a stone in its beak and 2 stones in its claws. Some people of Mecca had these stones preserved with them for a long time. Thus, Abu Nuaym has related a statement of Naufal bin Abi Muawiyah, saying that he had seen the stones which had been thrown on the people of the elephant. They equaled a small pea seed in size and were dark red in color. According to Ibn Abbas's tradition that Abu Nuaym has related, they were equal to a pine kernel. And according to Ibn Marduya, equal to a goat's dropping. Obviously, all the stones might not be equal, but differing in size to some extent.
Good. Next, Zen.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Tarmihim
Yes, sir.
min sijjin.
Fazil, continue.
Which smote them with stones of baked clay. Literally by hijarat im mean sigil means stones of sigil type. Ibn Abbas says that sigil is the Arabic version of the Persian sang and gil, and it implies the stones made from clay and become hard when baked. The Quran also confirms the same in Surah Hud ayat 82 and Surah Al-Hijr ayat 74. It has been said that stones of baked clay, sijin, were rained on the people of Lot, and about the same stones in Surah Ad-Dhariyat ayat 33. It has been said that they were the stones made from clay, hijarat im min tin.
Okay. Here. I think the word baked was repeated a few times, so just underlined once. Jessica.
Yeah, so baked, once again, it's got that E after the consonant, so the vowel is long, it's not short, so it's baked, not backed. To bake is to put something in an oven, like to bake cookies or to bake cake.
Or to bake bread.
Or to bake bread, yeah. The next word is Persian. So Persian, like the people from Persia, the place.
Yeah.
And then I guess that's it. So good job.
Yeah, and I think like same area as Iran.
Right, right. Today it is Iran. But it's interesting because when I meet people from Iran, they often say that they're Persian. So I guess they are proud of their Persian heritage.
Yeah, yeah. I never looked into this, but why there is a. But then again, this region has such a long history.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think yeah. So just these two words. So let's move on to the next person. Let's go with Rabia.
Okay, sir. Hamiduddin Farahi, who in the present age has done valuable work on the research and determination of the meaning and content of the Quran, regards the people of Makkah and other Arabians as the subject of Tarmihim in this verse. Who are the addresses of Alam Tara? About the birds, he says that they were not casting stones, but had come to eat the dead bodies of the people of the elephant. A resume of arguments he has given for this interpretation is that it is not credible that Abdul Muttalib should have gone before Abraha and demanded his camels instead of pleading for the Kaaba, and this also is not credible that people of Quraysh and the other Arabs who had come for Hajj did not resist the invaders and leaving the Kaaba at their mercy had gone off, off to the mountains.
Okay. So just one word here. Good job, Rabia. It just identified the Arabic word and the English word because sometimes when the same word is transliterated, it's a different language and different alphabets, but it's the same word. So tarmihim. So I just identified that, and it happens a lot of times in translations. Only there was only one word.
Yeah. So I guess the word you are underlined is a resume.
Okay, a resume.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure if this is resume or resume. I think it's a resume just because of the context it's used in.
Yeah, it's also a new use for me, a resume of arguments, or a collection of arguments, right? In this sense. Okay, so now I will probably waste another hour looking for what does the word resume means.
Oh, you know what? I guess it's unfamiliar in that sense because I think it might be a word that was originally from French or something because there's like a little accent line above the E, above both E's usually when it's written. Let me just type it in the chat. So sometimes when you're looking up resume as in a list of qualifications or something somebody uses to get a job, sometimes it's spelled like that with the little accents because it comes from I believe it comes from French.
Yeah, and in Arabic you have the same thing. Sometimes you will see a little dash on top of the word or under the word to you give it a certain different sound. Okay, so let's go with the next one, Shahzib.
Okay, sir. Therefore, what actually happened was that the Arabs pelted the army of Abraha with stones, and Allah, by sending a stormy wind charged with stones, destroyed it completely. Then the birds were sent to eat the dead bodies of the soldiers, but as we have already explained in the introduction, the tradition does not only say that Abdul Muttalib had gone to demand his camel, but it says that he did not demand the camels at all but tried to dissuade Abraha from attacking the Kaaba. We have already explained that according to all reliable traditions, Abraha's army had come in Muharram when the pilgrims had gone back, and also it was beyond the power of Quraysh and other Arab tribes living in the surrounding areas to resist and fight an army 60,000 strong.
Okay. So only one word here.
So yeah, the word pelted, which I suppose means like to attack or to attack, to throw something.
Yep.
Yeah.
To throw something, to throw a stone, or to throw something from your hand to at somebody. And then you use the word demand. So first you said demand, and then you corrected that to be demand. So I just wanted to point out that, good job there. Usually in American English, people will say demand.
That's right.
Okay. Again, Shazib, you did a very good job. So we're not gonna, in the interest of time, let's give Sumer a chance, and then Jessica can leave, and I will finish it. Sumer, Shazia.
Okay, sir. Can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. They had hardly been able to muster a force 10 to 12,000 strong on the occasion of the Battle of the Trench, Azab, with the help of the Arab pagans and Jewish tribes. Then how could they have mustered courage to encounter an army 6,000 strong? However, even if all these arguments are rejected and the sequence of the words of Surah Al-Fil only is kept in view, this interpretation is seen to go against it. If it were so that the stones were cast by the Arabs and the people of the elephant were rendered as chaff, and then the birds came to eat their dead bodies, the uh, uh, the uh, the order would be this: you were pelting them with stones of baked clay. Then Allah rendered them as chaff eaten up, and then Allah sent upon them swarms of birds. But here we see that first Allah has made mention of sending swarms of birds. This is immediately followed by Tarmihim bihijaratim min sijil, which were pelting them with stones of baked clay. And then at the end, it is said that Allah made them as straw eaten up.
Okay. There's a few words here. One was starting with Jessica. Go ahead.
Sure. So we have that word pagan. Pagan. We talked about it before. It's the polytheists, or in Arabic we would call them mushriks. Let's see. There's the number 60,000. So it's like 1,000 times 60,000.
Yeah. I think she read that 6,000. Maybe she just.
Yeah.
And then she missed the S in the next one.
And then verses. So a verse is like an ayat, verses. And then this next word is chaff. I think it's not a word that American English speakers use a lot, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I guess I've heard it said as chaff, but I know it's kind of like the grains or the grass that you give to animals to eat. So I think it's kind of using it metaphorically to say, oh, this is just they were rendered as nothing more than animal food. They were really destroyed.
And the last one is?
And then the last one is, excuse me, last one is immediately. Or, sometimes people say this immediately. Yeah. Yeah, I think immediately people say it that way more.
Yeah, people say D, and I think back home, sometimes people read the D as J.
Oh, because it's like a
So
soft.
immediately. So in American English, we just say D.
Okay. Right. And it's interesting because I think in a lot of languages, there's like a soft D and a hard D. But as far as I know in English, we don't really have that. D is just D.
Okay. So Jessica, you want to read this and then we'll let you go, given you got to go to work.
Sure. They had hardly been able to muster a force 10 to 12,000 strong on the occasion of the Battle of the Trench. Azab, with the help of the Arab pagans and Jewish tribes, then how could they have mustered courage to encounter an army 60,000 strong? However, even if all these arguments are rejected and the sequence of the verses of Surah Al-Fil only is kept in view, this interpretation is seen to go against it. If it were so that the stones were cast by the Arabs and the people of the elephant were rendered as chaff, and then the birds came to eat their dead bodies, the order would be this. You were pelting them with stones of baked clay, then Allah rendered them as chaff eaten up, and then Allah sent upon them swarms of birds. But here we see that first Allah has made mention of sending swarms of birds. This is immediately followed by tarmihim bi hijarat min sijil. I'm sorry, I don't know if I pronounced all that Arabic correctly. Which were pelting them with stones of baked clay. And then at the end, it is said that Allah made them as straw eaten up. So the straw eaten up is I think is similar to the chaff.
Yep. Perfect.
Yep.
All right. So well, I understand you gotta go to work, and we're almost at the end.
Okay.
Should we finish it, or you want to leave?
I'll have to leave for work now, but it was good seeing you all, and I hope you all have a good week and a good Juma day.
Okay, Waqas. Yeah, go ahead.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَعْكُولٍ. The word asf as used in the original has... Oh, sorry, sir. And made them like straw eaten up by cattle. The word asf as used in the original has already occurred in verse 12 of Surah Ar-Rahman. Dul asf, wine and corn with husk as well as grain. This shows that asf means the outer covering of seeds, which the farmer throws away after the grain has been separated from it. Then the animals eat it, and some of it falls down in the chewing, and some is trampled under the hooves.
Okay, very good. So only one word, separated. Okay, separated. No, let me read it. فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَأَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ, and made them like straw eaten up by cattle. The word asf as used in the original has already occurred in verse 12 of Surah Ar-Rahman. Dul asf wa rahin. So Arabic is not here, so I'm having a hard time reading this. Okay. And corn with husk as well as grain. This shows that asf means so asf is right here. This shows that asf means the outer covering of seeds, which the farmers throw away after the grain has been separated from it. Then the animals eat it, and some of it falls down in the chewing, and some is trampled under the hoofs. So there's again mention of the same concept of chaff. उर्दू में जब जैसे आप लोग सराइकी बोलते हैं, जब गंदम होती है तो गंदम का वो एक सिट्टा होता है जिसके अंदर दाने होते हैं। जब उससे दाने निकाल देते हैं तो बाकी क्या बचता है, उसके लफ्ज क्या है?
भूसा।
भूसा।
राइट सर, भू बोलते
क्या बोलते हैं?
हैं, भू।
ओके, या सो घास फूस या भूसा, वो है चैफ। भूसा की स्पेलिंग मुझे नहीं आते हैं, लेकिन ये बाद में उसको जो जानवर खाते हैं यूजुअली, ये उस लफ्ज उसके लिए ये लफ्ज है चैफ। ओके, कि जो कि चीज की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है। ओके, सो दैट्स, अगर किसी चीज को आप पत्थर फेंक रहे हैं बार बार तो वो जितनी भी सकता है वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता उसमें से जो वैल्यूएबल चीज है वो टूट जाएगी और बाकी सिर्फ भूसा बचेगा। Okay, so that was all the surah for today, and next week we will move on to surah 104. Let me
Sir,
just
I want to add something.
sure, give me 1 second. Brad just messaged, so let me write this down. Pusa. Okay, so I did not know how to.
Sir, I had put chef in front of my got.
Okay, okay. Sorry, and Shazi, what did you want to say?
Sir, you missed S in throws. You just said throw.
Okay, so throws away. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's important to complete the words, and it happens.